Government is currently reviewing our retirement income system, and the final report is due out in June. Joining me on the line to help us sort of work out and plan for retirement is Josh Funder, who is the CEO of Household Capital. Good afternoon, Josh.
Good to be with you.
Welcome to Afternoons. So it really is something people put off. When do people start planning for their retirement?
Usually too late, and the problem for baby boomers is they've got two great pieces of good news. One is they're living longer than ever. So in retirement, we can anticipate people need to plan for 30 years of living in Australia, which is not cheap. The second piece of good news is Australians are wealthy, and we just last year became the wealthiest nation on earth over Switzerland. But the problem is our retirement income system isn't delivering for baby boomers that wealth back to them to fund their retirement. So the system's really going to have to do some work to come behind baby boomers and make sure that as they look ahead to retirement or when they're in retirement, they can make plans to fund their own way and live a good life.
So how do you help people with planning and managing their retirement income?
Well, that retirement income review that you mentioned put out three pillars of retirement funding for Australians. The first is the pension, and most people find it pretty hard to get behind the pension. The second one is superannuation, and for most baby boomers, they only got 3% contributions halfway through their working lives. The third one is your home equity, the money you've saved in your home. Now, if the government would like to think that the three pillars of retirement funding system are holding up a temple, well, one of those pillars is falling down, the pension. Another one's only been built up too late for baby boomers, superannuation. But most baby boomers have a lot of wealth in their home, and how Household Capital helps them live well at home is to help them draw some of their home equity from their home to fund their retirement as an income or as lump sum, and at the same time live as long as they like in their home. So it's really that third pillar of our retirement funding system that hasn't been made available to Australians by the banks, and that's where Household Capital comes in to help retirees.
So, Josh, is the current system working for us? We hear that in the future most people won't have enough to retire on, and fewer people will be eligible for the pension. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, the current system is good by international standards across the board, but let's focus on the needs of retirees who are facing retirement now or in retirement, and it's not working for them for several reasons. Our system isn't universal. Not everybody gets super. There are a lot of mums who are doing unpaid work at home, a lot of women in casual work in and out of the workforce, and they're not getting super on those casual jobs. And so super isn't universal. For baby boomers, they also got too little super too late through their working careers. So that part of the superannuation retirement system isn't working. And then, as I mentioned, the pension's just too low for a lot of people to get by on. So the two main pillars that the government controls and forces people to save on aren't working. And the third pillar isn't working because people don't have flexible, responsible access to their home equity. So broadly for baby boomers, wealth isn't being transferred into retirement funding and retirement income, and our system is failing to deliver. So that's really what part of this retirement income review needs to wrestle with, is how do we get that right for people who are retiring now. In 30 years' time, super might be worth more to people when they're retiring, but those people won't own as many homes because they're getting more expensive. So there'll be a very different set of problems in 30 years. We've got to get behind retirees now and sort things out. And
a lot of people don't know where to start. They're hearing this conversation, and it's something people put off, planning for their retirement income. But, where do you go? Who do you ask?
Well, people are pretty savvy, and the government would suggest that you want to downsize. And actually most Australians know that living at home is the best for their retirement. So there's a really strong demand for people to be able to stay at home. And so downsizing isn't going to be right for most people, and policies need to be in place not just to support at-home ageing and in-home care, but actually in-home retirement and funding that retirement. In terms of thinking ahead, people need to understand that. And also, it's the place where you're in community. All your services, your doctor, your physio, your friends, and your lifestyle is there at home. And so people, I think, in Australia are really savvy at planning for a good retirement at home in their communities. So that part of planning, actually, a lot of Australians get right and meet their own needs. What we need to do is support that with the right financial planning. Part of the problems there is The banks have pulled away from retirement and wealth. They're now out of that business, and the Royal Commission showed them doing that very poorly. At the same time, the superannuation system has been mostly about accumulating savings. It hasn't really been about delivering financial advice or helping retirees in what's termed the pension phase. So our system's got a big gap to help retirees plan and fund their retirement, and we've got to step in with a range of new solutions to provide better advice and better access to people's wealth, which is, for a number of people, mostly tied up in their home.
Josh, thank you so much. Appreciate your time this afternoon. Josh Funder there, who is the CEO of Household Capital. Plenty of food for thought there.